I can't believe it has already been basically 4 months into the year 2022. It has flown by. One of my goals this year was to incorporate traveling into this YouTube channel so we could go to some different and more interesting places and see some cool stuff. So far, we've gone to Texas, a few cities in Texas. We went up to Fort Wayne, Indiana, see Sweetwater, did a bunch of stuff up there. Tomorrow, we're leaving for Los Angeles, and it's gonna be fun. We've got a bunch of really cool stuff lined up. Some very interesting guests, so subscribe to the channel if you have not subscribed already, because it's gonna be a good one. So a few days ago, my friend Aaron from Dangerfox, the company that makes this beautiful desk sitting behind me, called me to introduce me to his friend Chris Justice. After an hour and a half on the phone, I said, hey, let's do a studio tour tomorrow. So shout out Chris for having me out. He's got an epic home studio in a bonus room just like me, but he is a guitarist and a TV composer, producer, all kinds of stuff. Very talented and very down-to-earth guy. I'm gonna link him down below because he deserves a follow. Go check him out. He's got a YouTube channel too with a few things on it. So go mass subscribe to his channel to encourage him to make some videos, because that's what we do here. We love YouTube, right? All right, let's get a little serious here. It's time for this week's segment of What's New in the Stew. And I am so pumped for this week because we got the AEA N8 Ribbon Mics stereo kit. That's right, 2. And the stereo kit comes with this really awesome stereo bar that is the ultimate stereo mic bar, in my opinion. So if you're unaware, first, AEA makes the best ribbon mics, hands down, in my opinion. If you think I'm wrong, smash the like button and let me know down below. So the N8 ribbon mic is actually the same ribbon that's inside the R88 stereo mic, which is one of my favorite mics. But now that I have the stereo kit from the N8s, I can mount it on the stereo bar just like an R88, and I can also take them apart and use them as stereo mics, or obviously just a couple mono mics on different sources. I will link these mics down below if you want to check them out. They are top-notch ribbon mics if you're in the market for them. Thank you, Sweetwater, for sponsoring this video, and let's go check out Chris's epic home studio. Okay, so we're upstairs, and this is like a bonus room, right?
This is a bonus room, that's correct.
Wow. What's the size of this room?
This room is 15 feet wide, 22 feet long, and the center of the ceiling's 10 feet.
Wow. What kind of room were you in before this?
So before this, I was in a really small bedroom, like, gosh, it was probably 12 foot wide and maybe 14 feet deep.
Okay.
But it had a funny closet that I took the doors off and hung guitars in the closet.
Okay.
I had to do a lot of trapping in that room. It was, you know, it was a box, and it was close to square, and it was, it was a struggle in terms of getting a good mix sometimes. But you know, you do what you have to do. You monitor low and you deal with it.
So, well, first off, I'll say this room is absolutely beautiful.
Thank you.
You've done a tremendous job with just the attention to detail. I can tell you're a visual guy, much like myself. Trapping and stuff, are you happy with how this room sounds?
Yeah. I mean, last night, one of my buddies, Sean Tubbs, and I were sitting out, he was over here, we were hanging out, and he hadn't heard the room since I put the clouds up and put the trapping in the back wall, kind of made a few tweaks, and we were surprised. I'm pretty happy. It's pretty balanced, and you know, the couch doesn't sound like you're inside of the kick drum.
Yeah.
as is typical in a studio, but yeah, I mean, you know, it works. It works, you know, I'm not blasting out stuff at 110 dB when I'm mixing, or creating music. So it works, it's comfortable.
And you like the angled ceiling thing?
Man, the angled ceiling, I had no idea how much that would help.
Yeah.
I just didn't, I've never been in a room that's like this, and I underestimated the awesomeness that is not having a square or rectangular room, a box. It really, I was amazed. I was really amazed, and I think, you know, I've even sold, you know, I've seen your room. I've seen some of Colt's videos, and he said the same thing, I think. So I think we're all kind of like, the angled ceiling's a cool thing. So the main thing I use this room for is I create production music and music for TV. I do all the music for a fishing show that's on Bally Sports and Sportsman channel, and then stuff for a library I work for, that stuff gets used by NFL and CBS Golf. And
oh, cool.
It's kind of, you know, those are always you throw a bunch of stuff against the wall and see what sticks. The show's a steady thing because I I create a bunch of content for them and they use it.
Yeah,
and I just deliver them a bunch of edits and they're always happy, and then it's easy and steady and predictable. And the other thing is, you know, you just go with what you're being asked to do or what they need or what the editors are asking for, and you throw the pitches out, and sometimes you get a hit, sometimes you get a miss.
So how long have you been doing stuff for TV?
Since 2004.
Wow, okay. Have you always done it from your home?
Yes and no. So I've done it from a home.
Okay.
Sometimes my home. I got into it actually working for a drummer that was a composer, and he built a studio out in his backyard. So I would do stuff for him. I got hired on initially to help him just engineer and get stuff situated and help him record, and he was playing drums on people's albums and doing it from home now. We became really good friends. We started working together on other stuff, and then I started playing guitar on some stuff for him, and then it just evolved. And then you know, he started getting into the TV music thing, and he just pulled me along in with him, and kind of all started there and snowballed.
So you play guitar?
I try.
Wow, this is an extremely impressive collection of guitars.
Oh, thank you. I'm quite spoiled, I think.
There's a healthy variety here of not only types of guitars, but you know, the models of those types. I'm seeing all kinds of stuff I would love to have here.
Try to keep it a little bit of a variety, although there's quite a bit of Sir gear in the room, as you guys have probably noticed. So, you know.
For the work that you're doing, what are you typically starting with?
You know, it varies. Most of the time it starts with just an idea, a lick, or you know, a little riff or something else. But sometimes it'll literally start with, okay, I need to write something that's country southern rock. Yeah. I'll throw up some drums. Oh, and nice. I'll start with drums sometimes.
Yeah.
And let the groove inspire something out of me. So I wanted to play drums. That was my instrument of choice. And my mom said, absolutely not, they're too loud. So I bought a Mesa Boogie and a 4x12.
Nice. It seems to have done you well.
It worked out okay. That's the running joke in the family, that it, you know, it worked out pretty well. So, and I feel very lucky, and it's a blast. I have a ton of fun.
That's amazing. Okay, so let's get into some fun toys here. First thing I have to point out, because this is the first one I've seen in person, is the desk.
It is, and it actually is the first one that went out. Wow. So the really short version of the story is I was looking for a desk. I had an old KK Audio flat desk that was a reflection nightmare, but it was functional for what I did. And I started researching studio desks, and I just wanted something that looked cool, that was more like a piece of furniture and not so utilitarian. Yeah. And I came across Dangerfox and said, hey, have you ever thought, actually, no, it was an Instagram post, actually, I commented on. Yeah. And have you ever thought of making like a split bay version of that, where I could have the Slate Raven controller? Because I was using that a lot at the time. Yeah. I still use it, but you know, another story. And he's like, I actually am. And it just started all from there. And, you know, he tweaked it and continued to refine his design, and then it showed up. I think I was the first purchase on record of one of these. So, and this is the first one they shipped out.
Well, this thing is freaking awesome. It's got a bunch of things I love. So the legs, I have a Dangerfox as well.
Yes, I know. Yeah.
It's the 24U, so it's not split like this. It's straight across, which is cool. One thing I'm really liking about this is the legs are wide.
They're beefy.
This is actually the same leg, I believe, as the sidecar you can get.
Correct.
So when you're routing stuff underneath, I'm just looking at this, I'm like, oh, there's so much. You have the power strip inside the leg.
Yes.
That is so awesome.
Oh yeah, because you can see, I mean, I was kind of able to stuff everything back there. Yeah. And I tried to do it neatly, but it, you know, you get to hide everything. I think I even hid the, you know, the one box for the mic, you know,
dude,
for the tube mic, the power supply. So
mine is just, well, I have the leg to the side, the sidecar, and I have like the power strip, 2 patch bass, 96 points, and then I had the interfaces in there, so it's like the amount of DB25 cables crammed in that one leg. But yeah, this is really cool, and it's a good size as far as width too, because you know I think Argosy has a version, you know, their Halo thing, which is kind of a similar split thing, but this fixes a lot of things that I don't like about that desk. And it's cool, you still get to have all the surface.
You still got the padded armrest.
The padded, yeah.
That's nice.
Your gear out of the way. It looks like the height of the speakers and everything is just perfect. And it's cool that you have the Raven in there too.
Yeah, I mean, it's nice. Sometimes I like to move faders around. I grew up on a console.
Yeah.
Like my engineering background is console days with outboard gear, and Pro Tools existed, but it wasn't as heavily used. There's something I like just about moving faders around and everything else. And the Raven works good for that. You know, I don't really use it for plugins or anything, but I like using it for faders.
I'm biased. You know, I don't think I could. I've never used one, first off, I'll say that. I think it's cool concept. I also love faders.
Yeah.
So I have the SSL UF8, which is, you know, just a USB remote sort of controller, but it integrates so well with Pro Tools and Logic. It is just nice because it has like the transport, you've got your writing modes and all that stuff, and you can just so quickly just flip over, put it in touch mode, and grab it, put it back.
Yeah.
I would screw that up. I'm just such a klutz with my, you know, I'm like, oh, why isn't it? Oh, because my thumb's touching, you know. Yeah,
there's another page that you can overlay a slate console over the top of it that has bigger faders and things. And so when I'm using it in that mode, I'll usually do that.
Yeah.
But yeah, real faders. The SSL box is really cool. I debated abandoning getting faders and a bigger monitor.
Yeah.
But this setup's just, I'm so used to it. I just continue to roll with it.
Yeah.
You know, it's workflow for me is a big thing, as you guys can probably tell.
Yeah, and what's cool with just to continue trying to convert you, the SSL, it comes, you know, you can rack mount it and then you can do it flat, but then it also has legs to tilt it up like how you have this tilted. So I was just looking at that little step down.
And I could fit two of them there. I mean, you have an affiliate link too, right?
Yeah, there's a link down in the description if any of you guys want to go check it out. This video is sponsored by Sweetwater. And then you have the Heritage Neve volume.
The ridiculously too big volume knob. It's like, gratuitous size to the volume knob.
You guys hear that?
The relays.
Nice.
It's one of the biggest reasons I have this is I used to have another set of speakers, and eventually I'll have a third set, but I liked having three. I liked the Bluetooth if I'm playing stuff out of the computer to reference, or a client has a phone. Oh, well, I want to listen to this. They can Bluetooth into it. I like having independent control of the sub. The left, right, which you can do some of this with the Dangerous or the other ones that are out there. But I like having the preset levels too.
Oh, okay, yeah.
There was several. The 3 sets of speakers though with the separate sub was huge for me. Yeah, it worked out good. I don't really use TalkBack or any of that other stuff anymore. Pretty much me in here for the most part. So
you want to walk me through some of the stuff on the desk here?
I mean, yeah. So on this side, I have, you know, kind of the mic pre's and the compressor that I use. So couple real Neves, an old Summit tube preamp, which sounds stellar for bass DI. It's ridiculous.
Oh, cool.
The Warm Audio, which I was really blown away with this unit. I mean, I AB'd those, and I've had, you know, in the studio prior, had a rack of Neves, and I was really blown away. I mean, I couldn't say one was a real Neve and one was not. If you AB'd them, I couldn't tell. There's no way. I liked having the EQ. I liked having the line input switch. So the way I actually have this hooked up is I have this Summit channel showing up on the line on this channel of the Warm Audio.
Oh, nice.
And this feeds the 1176 directly. I don't even have it on the insert. I just have it straight in.
Straight in, yeah.
Because I'm always using it that way. I just workflow, speed for me, and not having to monkey with anything. So I can choose between having the bass go through this, or if I want to just go into the Neve, I just go straight into the Neve and hit instrument in. So it was like, this made sense with a little mini patch bay here almost. Yeah. To the way I have it hooked up in my workflow.
That's great.
So, I mean, that's pretty much, you know, that's all this side is. I'll use these Neves usually if I'm micing acoustic. But I haven't tried, because I haven't tried them through this yet. This is kind of a newer piece. So
oh, cool.
I didn't have that in my last studio when I was in my other room.
Yeah. Well, you know, the Neves work too.
Oh, yeah.
They've kind of figured it out.
Yeah, you know. But the warm audio stuff, I was really blown away. This is, I really like it. I really, really like it. And I like having the EQ there and having it switchable and
line trim.
Line trim's kind of nice.
Yeah. Check your input level of the compressor.
Yep.
And then is this mix bus?
It is.
Oh, that's right. We talked about this.
It is mix bus. Sometimes I come out and I sum. Most of the time I'm blowing through stuff so fast and I'm too lazy, I'll be honest, to sum. But I like having the little bit of the silk. And the signal flow is basically comes out of Pro Tools, goes into here, feeds the Heritage Audio successor. That feeds the overstayer for some saturation, and I'm parallel saturating, so 50% usually.
Yeah.
Then into the SSL bus comp. On the Heritage, I do sidechain, so I let the kick and a fair amount of the bass through.
Okay.
But then when it comes to the SSL style bus comp, I'm letting it all grab.
Yeah.
And then it just goes back in through the AD plus, and I can actually pull that up as an insert on the master fader and not.
Love
it. Just, you know, it's hardwired through input 1 and 2 and output 1 and 2 on the B interface down there. The A interface would be the Omni. So
yeah, I got to ask you about this. There's a lot of interfaces happening.
There's a lot of interfaces happening right there.
You've got them all.
So with the interfaces, the Omni was first. I needed expansion. I got the other Avid. The Apollo I do use the Apollo if I'm going in, you know, electric guitar and I want to use an amp sim or a bass amp sim, you know, plug in.
Yeah.
That's what I use the Apollo for, because their input just sounds and reacts so well with the plugins.
Yeah.
So plug in the guitar directly into there, and I'll pull up the amp in console some of the time and just print it that way.
Yeah.
It'll just be like that, just like I played the part through an amp, and I'm committing. I commit a lot of stuff when I'm recording.
Yeah, console's fantastic for put in UAD record mode.
Oh yeah.
And just roll right with it.
Yep.
But then you have what? You got an Avid, and then you have the.
I have the old 192, which is, I don't really use it anymore. It's
extra I/O.
Yeah, it's extra IOs. At one point, I had set it up to where I was going to have more IOs and maybe be able to, you know, if I wanted to mic a drum kit, if I wanted to have somebody slug some drums over here. But
yeah.
I just haven't found I used it at all. So.
And then is the Apogee a clock? Or what is that?
No, so the Apogee is that's my ridiculous converter overkill. All that's for is to convert digital to run the Clarity.
Oh.
That's all it is. So what I have is I have an output, a stereo output that is straight out, not affected by the monitor controller.
Yep. Straight
out of here into the Apogee, converts it to digital light pipe to the Clarity, so that I have monitor, because I didn't want to have the plug-in space taken up by that, and you got to convert it to digital. And because I'm using the digital ins and outs to go back in, I'm using the inputs for the AD plus. The outputs, it got too convoluted, and so I bought that. It's just a ridiculously overkill converter for the Clarity. It's all it is. And so in the other plus is I'm monitoring exactly what's coming out of that. Yeah. Level-wise.
Exactly.
So. It just gives me a really good picture of, you know, where I am balance-wise, and because for TV, you know, I'm delivering a little bit less hot than, you know, you're not smashing everything to the moon like the radio. Yeah. Or like Spotify. Is there even radio anymore?
There is. I use it to calm my dogs during the storms. What about these speakers, Dyne Audios?
Dyne Audio. I've had these for a long time.
These are slick.
Thank you. You know, they work. They're first generation BM5As, because I was too cheap to buy the BM15s.
Yeah, of course.
You know, Bob Clearmountain's favorite speaker.
Yeah.
But I liked them. They sounded pretty neutral, pretty balanced, not too hypey, but not too dull. And they have served me well. I have the sub. I did add the sub.
Mm-hmm. Is it a Dyne Audio sub?
It is a Dyne Audio. It is the BM9 sub, which I don't even know if they make the 9S anymore. I can't remember. But yeah, gosh, I've had these speakers since 2006.
And then you have the Avantones.
The Avantones, yep. Whether you're doing Aurotone or Avantone, I just am used to them. I've had them for a while. And so they work. They just give me a picture of, you know, what stuff gonna sound like on TV without, you know, a crazy system. It just gives, that's pretty much what I use them for. I bounce to them to make sure that I have everything in the lower register sounding right and the mid-range right for TV, especially since you're usually piping out of a little,
yeah, of course,
little baby like that, you know.
You have the TV up there, which is
I do
awesome. I just don't see. Oh, okay. So is it the cable going around the windowsill?
That's the power cable,
dude. Yep. That is slick because I can't even see it.
That's the power cable. So yeah, it actually runs along the inside of the windowsill and then behind.
That's great.
You've noticed I'm kind of OCD with cable management.
No, it's awesome.
I try. So yeah, it's just a power strip that runs up there. A braided power strip I got on Amazon.
That's killer.
And then yeah, it's a Wi-Fi TV, so it's just.
Oh, okay.
That's it. It doesn't, you know, I just
connect right to it. And then you have this wild wall over here of amps and pedals, and it's so admirably routed. I mean, gosh.
Again, it's that OCD side of me, I guess.
Can we start with just the amps?
Yep, sure.
I'm not an amp guy, but break it down.
The simple breakdown is I kind of don't mess with the settings on the amplifiers. So I have them set pretty much for the tones I use them for.
Oh, nice.
And
love
it's
that.
about workflow. So I have them all routed up to a switcher. There's power for every single one of them here. The power number, like amp 1 is the PT100. It corresponds. The power's 1. It's 1 on the switcher.
Oh, cool.
2 is the SL68. Power's on the 2. Number 2 on the switcher.
Love that.
So, and then the cabinet's a little different, but 1 is the aux. 2 is SIR reactive load number 1, which is set for 100 watt amp level.
Okay.
Okay. 3 would be the next one down, which is set for the smaller amps, so I don't have to change stuff.
Yeah.
And then 7 is the Bella speaker, 8's that cab. You know, 4 is the reactive load IR below it, which I use the least just because I'm either using the aux or I'm using the SIR reactive loads and then using an impulse response in the computer. It's essentially, it's just it's a patch bay up there. Everything's wired in, and that way I don't have to mess with anything. And then the pedal board, I got the cable right there to go into the front. If I want to use the pedal board with the amps, this is where the output of the pedal board comes. I just do this, and now, as you can hear the hum, the pedal board's into the amp. So, and the only caveat to that is the pedal board is wired up for cable, so I have a few things that are out into a loop. They go into the Bella loop, and I only use those wet effects when I'm using the Bella.
Whoa, that's awesome.
Yeah, it's kind of like that. My old live rig was that pedal board and either the Badger 30 or the Bella, and so I just kind of brought that into the studio and use it there because I used that pedal board for lots of years.
All right, so you've got the amps basically set up for exactly how you would use them. So you're almost flipping through. This is how I make sense of it in my brain. If I had if I'm 13 years old and I have my Line 6 pod and I'm just flipping through the presets.
Yep.
You have that, but with the real deal amps to the right cabs at the right settings.
That's basically it. I mean, you know, there's certain things like the Rev, which I'm borrowing from a friend, another Sean Tubbs again. Borrowing that from him because I'm doing some other stuff and I wanted to check out, you know, to have a different tone on tap. But yeah, I mean, for the most part, that's it. I love the Helix. It doesn't get as much love.
Oh yeah.
I use it for ambient stuff. If I'm doing stereo stuff, I use it for that a lot because that's what it's really great. You can automate stuff, a lot of stuff on one foot swipe of the controller, the expression pedal. And I've used it live a lot when it's an in-ear situation and there's no stage cabinets, clean stage. Yeah. I've used that before and it's worked out really well, but I do love real amps.
You have this aux box here. That's what this is doing?
Yep, the iPad's controlling the aux. So, you know, you have different rigs that show up. So you can switch them from the front panel here, so you can see them changing on the aux. Or you can change them in the aux, but those are like the ones that I have. I have a couple presets in there, and I just use those for the most part most of the time. Like there's a little 212 There's a 1x10 tiny combo if I want like a small amp cabinet sound. If I'm using like the Morgan, you know, the Vox, if I want, you know, a small cabinet sound, there's the Vox cab for that amp. So yeah, it just makes things quick, makes it repeatable, keeps my workflow moving.
Yeah, and recallable.
And recallable, which in TV land sometimes can be really important. So it works out good for that.
The microphones. So you have 2 mics up.
I do.
Which mics are those?
So, and this is further my OCD, the little dust covers, because I like them to be out.
Yeah.
It's, accessible. So I have a Vanguard V13 tube mic condenser, and it's multi-pattern. You saw the power supply back in the back of the desk for it earlier. It does Omni, figure 8, cardioid, and a bunch of in-betweens. Right. And then I have the Slate, the modeling microphone.
Yeah.
And this thing's been really good. I really like it. And it sounds great just as a mic. I mean, even without using any of the modeling stuff that it does, it's super clean. Yeah. And it works out really good. When I'm doing acoustics, sometimes I'll do mid-side and I'll use this for the mid, and I'll put this in figure 8 and use it for the sides, or I'll do a body and a neck miking. But
when you use a mic, what are you putting it on?
Pretty much acoustic instruments, all the good acoustic stuff back in that corner, either guitar or the resonator, or when I'm doing any of these, I'm almost always miking that stuff. Even if I'm taking a DI off the mandolin or the banjo or the resonator with a pickup, I'm usually miking it as well. There's 3 absolute, probably 4 go-tos.
Okay.
This, my Desert Island guitar is this, for sure.
Ooh.
So
that is
it's
gorgeous.
a Sir, it's a T, it's got 2 humbuckers. It was kind of like if a Telly and a Les Paul Gold Top had a baby, this is kind of like what it would be. It's got a 5-way switch, so it's got tonal options, tons.
Yeah.
It's slightly chambered, so this thing just sounds great. It plays great. The contours are comfy.
Yeah.
Feels good. Older guys drink too much beer.
Yeah.
It's just, this is, and it's the most versatile guitar I own for sure. I mean, when I have to play out, this is probably what I'm playing 80% of the time.
Yeah. Wow. And that's a Sir T?
It is a Sir. It's a classic T, and it's 2 humbuckers. Second, ooh, this is hard. Second's probably, it's a fight between these 2. So they're both Sir classics. One's got a humbucker and 2 single coils, kind of like Mike Landau thing, whatever. This is just total classic Strat style, I mean, it's really hard between these 2.
Yeah.
This is extremely versatile. I probably grabbed this one a little bit more just because for the stuff I'm doing, a lot of the stuff I end up doing is either Southern classic country rock inspired or Foo Fighter-y stuff. And so those are the big guitars. And then if I gotta really chicken picking up, it's this.
Oh, nice.
Classic.
Oh, look at the finish
T-style. Yeah, so this is actually an Andy Wood signature model, which I'm not a big signature model guy that likes buying signature products, but this guitar is just fun. And this is actually, when they debuted this at the NAMM show, Andy took Proto #1. This is actually Proto #2.
Oh, cool.
This is actually the marketing guitar, and it just sounds ridiculous. I love it.
This is kind of like a Jazzmaster thing over here?
This is a Jazzmaster thing. This is a great guitar. This is a really great guitar, and there's not a lot of these. This is another Sir. Seems like I should be paid by Sir. They make great stuff though,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dang, look at those pickups.
Jazzmaster style pickups, which they do not, you can't order these.
Yeah.
Like, it's hard to get. And the Mastery style bridge. Just get that really squishy.
That's crazy.
Squishy thing. This guitar sounds great. This actually works really good for Foo Fighter-y stuff too. But the 4th guitar, the go-to would be this.
Yeah, that's awesome.
It sounds so good. It's a total rock machine. But yeah, the only other guitar that'll probably start working its way in a lot is this one. I just got it, and it's a Sir. It's an Aura, and they're not easy to come by. So I was very fortunate to be able to get this. But those are my go-tos. And then, there's a bunch of other stuff in there that gets used for all kinds of weird stuff,
Specific
specific stuff, the Dan Electro. The really gratuitous 80s guitar that probably none of your viewers have ever even seen, that's got more pots on it than anything should ever have. But this is a Kramer Ripley stereo guitar, and
that is crazy.
It's what Eddie used on Top Jimmy to get all the panning between. So each one of these is you pan the string. This is the low E string, the high E string. So you pan them. So yeah, it's kind of crazy. And then it's got basically like a Boss style distortion pedal built into it too.
Whoa.
It's a crazy guitar. There's not a lot of these at all. I think they built only a couple hundred ever.
And then you got the coffee table pedal.
Yeah,
pedal bar.
It made sense to store a bunch of pedals down there, kind of quick access, and for stuff that I need to plug in up on the desk, because I don't know if you guys noticed up on the desk, I actually have. So it's another workflow thing for me. This cable feeds the switcher.
Okay.
And right now I had an Echoplex in there because I was just nerding out on Eddie's stuff. So I was playing the Plexi with the Echoplex in front, but a tuner. But yeah, I just plug my guitar into this. And if I got 2 power supplies and if I need to do something and have it run through an amp, I just grab a pedal, drag it up here, plop it on the desk, and you're right at your fingertips.
You're rocking Pro Tools.
I'm rocking Pro Tools.
You must, I know a handful of composers, you must have a wild template that you kind of use every time.
I have a lot of templates.
Yeah.
I have templates for genre. I mean, this template's like an AC/DC-ish type of template.
Nice.
I have templates for Foo Fighters stuff. I have templates for acoustic stuff.
When you're doing in-the-box stuff, instruments, what are some stuff like Native Instruments?
Native Instruments, yeah. Complete I use that a ton. I use the Slate stuff as well. The that Anna 2.
Oh, I haven't messed with any of that.
Oh man, I'm just starting to dive into it. It's
and that's
really
kind of like
ridiculous.
A synth?
Yeah, it's a soft synth.
Nice.
But yeah, it's mainly Native Instruments and then the Slate stuff. A little bit of Spectrasonics. I use Trilogy some still for basses and Omnisphere.
Overall, I would say, if I'm gonna steal from Gerald Undone and give you a rating, I would give this a solid A.
Wow.
Like if I were to come in here and use this, the only thing that's missing from the A+ is drums. There's no drum kit blocking everything, but it's a perfect room otherwise.
You could put a drum kit right here. I mean, the table's on wheels.
That's true, and you got the rug. It seems like you did a great job of just being able to, oh, I want to do this, and boom, I can go over here. Oh, I want to do this, boom, or boom, grab it, switch right from, like you know what you want, and you can grab it. It's freaking awesome, man.
I tried. Thank you.
But otherwise, where can people follow you? Do you have like social media and stuff like
I have a social media. I have Instagram. Gosh, this is one of those moments I'm gonna look stupid. I think it's at Chris Justice Music. I think it's just at Chris Justice Music.
And then you said you have a channel that has just a few things on it.
It has 5 videos of prior work that I basically used just to seed the website,
Okay.
But it is, it's Chris Justice Music. I think it's just Chris Justice is the name of the YouTube channel, but
cool.
So
well, I'll link all that stuff down there, and well, dude, thank you for having me over.
Appreciate it.
Super duper fun.
Thank you very much for coming.
And we'll see you guys in the next video.
See ya.
Bye.